Good evening and welcome to the commemorative area of the Australian War Memorial for this special last post ceremony. My name is Gerard Pratt and shortly a member of the Australian Defence Force who is currently deployed overseas will read tonight's story. We'd like to acknowledge the veterans who have served, those who are still serving and the families who love and support them. We acknowledge the members of RSL and Services Clubs Association, RSL Victoria and RSL Queensland, who continue to watch the broadcast of this ceremony from across Australia. If you are able, please stand and join in singing the Australian National Anthem. The Australian War Memorial was the vision of Charles Bean, Australia's First World War official historian. Bean landed with the Australian troops on Gallipoli and stayed with them at the front through until the end of the war. The idea of this national memorial and museum came to him at Pozières, France, in the depths of the bloody fighting of 1916. Bean's idea was that this would be a place where families and friends could mourn loved ones buried in faraway places. It would also be a place that could help all Australians understand what these men and women had endured and what they had done for us. Bean's vision, to which we remain true, is best expressed as inscribed in the entrance to the memorial's galleries. Here is their spirit, in the heart of the land they loved, and here we guard the record which they themselves made. Now will we hear the story behind just one of those on the Roll of Honour, which lists the names of more than 102,000 men and women who have given their lives for us in war and on operations for more than a century.
Good evening. My name is Leading Aircraftman Kyle Fletcher and I'm currently serving with the Royal Australian Air Force. Today we remember and pay tribute to Lance Corporal Christopher John Parker. Christopher Parker, known as Christy, was born in Cowra, New South Wales in 1886. The oldest son of 10 children born to Henry and Margaret Parker. He grew up in Canawindra, where his father worked as a farmer and attended the local public school. He went on to work as a labourer and eventually became known as one of the best horsemen in the district. Parker enlisted in the Australian Imperial Force in February 1915, and his excellent horsemanship saw him posted to the 7th Light Horse Regiment. After a period of training in Australia, he left for active service overseas on board the troopship Uganda in June 1915. He was first sent to Egypt and from there to Gallipoli, where he arrived without his horse in October 1915. Within weeks, he fell sick and was evacuated to hospital, where he was treated for appendicitis. He did not rejoin his regiment until early in the new year. The 7th Light Horse Regiment was part of the force defending the Suez Canal from a Turkish advance across the Sinai Desert in early 1916, and went on to participate in the battles of Romani and Katia before following up the Turkish retreat across the desert By 1917, the regiment was in Palestine, attempting to capture the Turkish stronghold at Gaza. Parker, who had been promoted to Lance Corporal in late 1916, wrote home about fighting near Jerusalem. In mid-1917, his health began to suffer again when conjunctivitis turned into an abscess in his eye, and he took some weeks to recover. In early November 1917, just weeks after returning to his regiment, Gaza fell to the Allies and the Turkish forces collapsed. The 7th Light Horse Regiment was once again involved in following up the retreat. 2 days after Gaza fell, as the regiment advanced, they came under heavy shell and machine gun fire near a place called Ebdus. Parker's mate, Trooper Leonard Williams, later described how we were fighting on a flat against a large body of Turks, which we had to drive back from some guns, and we came under some very heavy rifle fire and had some men hit. Parker was among the first to volunteer to move the wounded men to safety, but as he went forward to do so, he was hit himself. Shot through the head, Lance Corporal Christy Parker died instantly. Trooper Williams wrote to Parker's parents to say, "Your son Chris was, without doubt, one of the finest characters I have ever met. He was loved and respected by all with whom he came in touch." Christy Parker was buried nearby his mates. Today he lies in the Gaza War Cemetery under the simple epitaph, "Sadly missed." He was 31 years old. His name is listed on the Roll of Honour among almost 62,000 Australians who died while serving in the First World War. This is but one of the many stories of service and sacrifice told at the Australian War Memorial. We now remember Lance Corporal Christopher John Parker, who gave his life for us, for our freedoms, and in the hope of a better world. They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them. Lest we forget.
We leave you this evening with the words of the memorial's founder, Charles Bean. Many a man lying out there at Pozières or in the low scrub at Gallipoli, with his poor, tired senses barely working through the fever of his brain, has thought in his last moments, well, it's over. But in Australia, they will be proud of this. Ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, that concludes the last post ceremony. We thank you for watching and wish you all a very good evening. Thank you.